Hey everybody, so I've given you my overview of the gameplay for the Institute for Magical Arts. Let's talk about the review of the game. Now, this game, let's talk about the cons first. One of the cons would be these tokens are very similar. It's like nickel to quarter kind of feel when you reach in your pocket and maybe you can't on the first glance tell what's the difference. That's what it's like. It's kind of frustrating sometimes because once these cards get, like crazy busy with all kinds of tokens on them, which sometimes may happen. I may have 5 tokens here and I'm vying for, this Novice Crystal Ball. I have to have 3 more than my opponent. These can get really confusing when they're like all cluttered next to each other. And it's just a shame that it wasn't a little more different. I also wish that instead of just being generic colors, they had been, something a little more magic-y, something, etched on this that made it look cool. Like the back of these cards, they have this beautiful artwork. Why couldn't they have used something like that on these tokens, or, even just a sticker with something, wizardy to it? Just didn't feel like I was dueling when I was putting stones, red tokens into the general supply and moving them onto cards and such. So that was a little disappointing. Another disappointment would be, and this is my main gripe with the aesthetic of the game, is you'll notice here you have the Novice Wand and you have the Master Wand, and the artwork is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Not even different colors on the magical thing coming off of the wand. Excuse me. So really just the art itself is beautiful, it's gorgeous, but it's just disappointing. And it's that way for a couple of cards. There's like a different cloak, and there's a bunch of different wands, and they're all the same. And another critique of that would be, as beautiful like even as this wand is, there's no pictures of like 2 people dueling that highlight the wand. Like, you could put the wand in focus but like have 2 people dueling in the background or something like that. Like, that really would have felt like pulled me more into the theme of the game, and it just really, it's kind of a bummer. And with an MSRP of $30, I did feel a little cheated when I looked at the cards. I'm like, man, these are the same artwork, like on different wands. And it can also be a little confusing, much like these things during the game. Like, if you just look at the pictures, you have to remember, oh wait, this is the Novice Wand and that's the Master Wand, and I better not get this confused. Now normally it's not too confusing because you're gonna remember which one you're going for, but it's just another little, like, a little side thing. And I don't want to make too much of this, and I'll get to that in a second, my final thoughts on it. I love the push your luck element of the ethereal realm. Remember, like, you can only have one person on here at a time, and you can only place 1 stone on here per turn. So I love the push your luck. Like, am I going to let my opponent get all the way up to 4? Am I going to try to get all the way up to 4 when my opponent can easily snuff me back down from 2 to 1 per turn and then undo all that work? I could have gotten 2 extra charm keeps and 3 reroll die, and I really needed that. And I wish I'd taken that reward when I had the chance. I love that push your luck element the game adds. I love how you can mitigate the dice in so many different ways, and most of the cards are about mitigating where your power tokens go. There's definitely an element of luck to the game, based on your rolls. Like, even if you re-roll, even if you mitigate stuff, sometimes you could just get messed over. A lot of the times, though, that's not going to be the case, and it's really just going to come down to you outthinking your opponent. You may be fighting over the Novice Crystal Ball, but in one turn swoop in and say, but I really wanted the Master Cloak because I wanted to use that ability, and take it in one turn because it only needs 3 stones, and your opponent is like, I didn't see that coming, I was really fighting for this one card. There are cards like that. There are cards that like are worth like 6 victory points, massive game-changing ones, and you may put tons of effort into those, fighting for those, but then someone is like slowly gaining small victory points through these other cards, and you just really have to watch out for that. I love how there's a variant where the character cards, you have to have if you have 3 of these, then you automatically win the game, I think. I haven't played with that variant yet, but I think it would add more power to these, because in some games you may only draw like 1 or 2 of these, and because they don't have any powers, they just score you points. They're not all too powerful, but in some games they can come out and you have like 4 or 5 of those guys, and you're just like racking up the points because they build off of each other, like adding those points. So I love how there's that element of risk taking in that sense. There's also 2 cards called the Broken Wand, and if you have one of them, that's worth 0 points, but if you have both of them, it's worth 7. Mathematically, I'm not sure why 2 Broken Wands is suddenly very powerful, whereas 1 is not. That also didn't make sense to me, but mechanically, and this is what I would say is so brilliant about this game, mechanically the game is superb. I just wish thematically that a few of the cards, like the Broken Wand, had been tweaked, and that there was a little bit more artwork. That would just have been nice. But overall, though, it's a great game. I don't think I mentioned this before, but when you use the portal, you actually hide your die at the same time behind a card, and you reveal where you want your stone on the portal to go. If you want it to go to the ethereal realm, you put it on the number of the portal there, and then it's going to go to the thing, or it's going to move over here, something like that. So I love that simultaneous action and not knowing what your opponent's doing and trying to figure it out and get in their head. I love how this game, some may call it a filler, but for me, it's just a short, good game. It feels on the medium to lighter side of thinkiness, probably more medium for people that aren't gamers. And well, if you're not a gamer, it may be actually heavier, but by hobby. But I would classify it somewhere in the light to medium area, and I would not classify it as a filler, just because the thinkiness in this game is enough, can be enough to put it outside of it, and especially if you play a longer game, which I prefer the longer game because there's more things you can do and build up your repertoire of special abilities and combo there. And 20 points, although it's a good game, there's still, I feel like luck is more important, because if you have more points, it gives you more time usually to catch back up if your opponent did happen to get, like a really game swinging victory point card come up and they grabbed it or something like that. Whereas the longer game usually has more chance to balance itself out. But I love how there's the options there for that. And I wish there could be an expansion for this game to add more things to it. And I wish they came out with another edition with more art on it. But nonetheless, those are all minor gripes in my book. This is actually mechanically and thematically still a very good, solid game. I recommend it highly if you love 2-player games, if you love area control, if you love dice chucking, if you love mitigating dice, like in games like Imperial Assault. There's a lot of that here. And even though there's luck, it doesn't feel lucky. I never have played this game and felt, oh, well, I just got cheated. I've always been like, oh, like I wish I'd seen that coming or thought about that, or really fought you more for this particular card. That's everything, folks. The Institute for the Magical Arts. Highly encourage you to check it out. You can find it on Dr. Steve's website. You can find it on other various retailers. I think it retailed, probably for what I bought it for, still roughly $30. But even though it feels a little more expensive than I want it to be, I'd say it's worth it. I'd say it's a good enough game that it's definitely worth it. This has been the Welcome Mat, helping you to think through your next purchase. And I hope you enjoyed the review. Feel free to leave comments below, but as always, be charitable and do unto others as you have them do unto you. Signing off. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.